Holy moly, it's been an entire 1,000 episodes since we started Journey to $100 million. What's happening? It's Erik J. Olson. You know, it's hard to believe that we have recorded 1,000 episodes of Journey to $100 million. But really, it's not, because it's a lot of work to record. And when you do something like this, when you take on a project like this, like, you really feel the intensity of it. Now, here's what I mean. Like recording this episode right now, not a big deal. It's going to take me 4 minutes. But in order to sustain something like this over time is a big effort. There have been many times where, like, you know, we have a backlog of episodes. We'll record 5 at a time, say. So then we have a backlog of 5. But sometimes we've had backlogs as big as 50 episodes where we just record, and then they come out later. But there have been other times where we've had backlogs of 0 for a couple days. And we've had to, like, you know, scrap together something from a different talk and to put together an episode. 1,000 days straight of broadcasting is not easy to do. And there's been a lot of changes. So, you know, I started this because I really wanted to have a podcast, but I didn't even know what I wanted to talk about, frankly. And so I called it actually Marketers Anonymous at first, because we had an in-person marketing meeting. It was a monthly in-person meeting with marketers local to our area, and we called that Marketers Anonymous. And so we're like, hey, let's extend the brand to this podcast. We'll call it Marketers Anonymous, and we'll talk about marketing and whatever. And the very first episode that I did, it was so terrible. I mean, it was really, really, really bad, because I didn't even know, like, the concept of what we're going to talk about. Sometimes be marketing, sometimes be about talking about building the business. Sometimes I'd have my employees on. I thought we were going to do, like, all sorts of stuff, interviews sometimes. It only took about maybe a week or two before I really figured out that what I continued to talk about on the podcast was entrepreneurship, building the company day by day, the things that we're learning, the things that we're doing, the mistakes that we're making, the lessons learned, and the changes that we're making. That's where my passion was. And when I started to talk about that, that's when Kevin came in, because he has the exact same passion. That we can talk about for hundreds or thousands of episodes. And so we went from a 5-day format when it was just me in the very, very beginning to a 7-day format when Kevin came on board as the co-host. And we've been going strong ever since. You know, sometimes, you know, there's a lot of lessons learned here, but, you know, it took us a while to figure out the format. It took me a while to kind of, like, figure out that I wanted to co-host it with Kevin, frankly. I wasn't sure if that would make sense or not. But also, it's been a great strength for both of us, because sometimes one of us will get busy and the other one will cover. You know, it's a partnership. Just like in our business, it's the same with this podcast. We recently started to interview people, other entrepreneurs, to figure out what makes them tick, how they continue to push, the lessons that they're learning. And we've incorporated a lot of those lessons learned into our podcast and also our business. But, you know, throughout all of this, we've had a vision of growing the company to $100 million per year. Even before we renamed the podcast to Journey to $100 million, we knew we wanted to grow to $100 million. It just took us a little while to actually change the name from Marketers Anonymous podcast to the Journey to $100 million podcast. And by talking about this over and over and over again, it's really crystallized for me and Kevin, and hopefully for the team and others that we interact with. It's crystallized the purpose of the journey. And it's not just about making money. That's not it at all. I mean, certainly it's a lot of money. It's not like that's going to go in our pocket. This goes towards hiring people, training people, getting the tools they need. But we want to build a company that is so big that every person's dreams can fit inside of that, inside of our dream. And what I mean by that is, if our employees have, you know, they want to run their own office one day, or their own brand, their own line of business, like, you can do that in a $100 million company. You can't do that in a $1 million company. You can't create that kind of opportunity. We want to create unlimited, endless opportunities for our employees, for our families, and also for our clients. And that's a big one that I recently realized is that this benefits our clients directly. Not only will they be working with a bigger, more mature agency, but as we grow, we're going to get better and we're going to make them better and bring them more leads. I want us to all grow. This is not just about our journey. It's about everybody's journey. And it's about your journey as well. If you're out there either thinking about starting a business or you're grinding away daily, I want you to learn from our mistakes. Don't make them yourself. I'm the dummy making the mistakes. Learn from what I'm telling you. Learn from what other entrepreneurs are telling you. Figure out how you can avoid those mistakes, because I guarantee when I make a mistake, it's not the first time that mistake's ever been made. These are classic mistakes that entrepreneurs make, that business owners make. If you can figure out what they are and avoid them, you will get to $100 million twice as fast as I will. Hey there, it's Erik J. Olson. I wanted to let you know about my book, $1 Million Journey, How to Launch a 7-Figure Business. This is the story of what it took for me to go from freelancer with no clients, no employees, no revenue, to growing a $1 million business. It took me 8 years, and I made a lot of mistakes. And all of those mistakes, and more importantly, lessons learned, are in this book. And we have chapter takeaways, 5 to 15 takeaways that you could apply right now to your business. Check it out on Amazon, $1 Million Journey by me, Erik J. Olson.